Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gen X Dad and this Gen Z Teens podcast. We're a program that takes a lighthearted look at all kinds of generational differences, and we explore all sorts of things from pop culture to history to relationships. But we're only looking to do it at a very shallow and fun level. We're not trying to be controversial or be the authoritative voice on any topic. Today, what we're going to talk about is the differences between fitness and gym culture from when I grew up and what I remember from the 80s versus what it is now. The biggest thing is the much more wide availability of gyms and gym chains and things like that were just non-existent in the 80s. Now, partially was because I grew up in a very small town. There was no gym at all for the general public. The only gym that was really available was the high schools had gyms, but obviously if you weren't in high school, you couldn't use them. My parents did give me a weight set that I used kind of growing up that I had at the house. It had a basic bench press. And then various weights. But the problem was I eventually outgrew those. But I do remember other people who were into sort of fitness and the gym culture had things at their own houses. But that's where you don't see it as much anymore. I don't think. Certainly not the commercials and things that used to be. But a lot of people had home gyms that were very rudimentary, very basic, sometimes in their garages or stuff like that. But the actual kind of more what we expect from gyms today. There just really wasn't a whole lot out there, except for maybe private ones, and that's what we had in my hometown or in big cities. I think the major change came with really Arnold Schwarzenegger getting famous. It really brought the whole bodybuilding culture in, and certainly in the 80s, he was at a peak in his stardom with a lot of just action movies, and you just couldn't get away from, his physique and how big he was, and that really had a big change in a lot of the way things happen. And so, fast forward to nowadays, there's so many gym chains and different things like that. We're a member of a local one in our city here, but there's 24-hour fitness, there's EOS. There's a whole bunch of ones that were out there. The biggest one I remember maybe starting as a chain was probably Gold's Gym, and they were famous for the name recognition because that's where a lot of the bodybuilders in California, which that culture came from. That's where they worked. There's still a Gold's that is, I think, on the beach in Venice Beach in California, which is pretty cool to say you went out there and worked out or something like that. But that along with obviously the much more the emphasis in professional athletics that then filtered down to university, college athletics, and even now to high school athletics, and the importance of getting in shape and fitness, it really has changed things, I think for the better. But I'm interested in my teens. For background, I have always tried. I'm not necessarily a gym rat per se, but I've always felt that going to the gym and maintaining your health as best you can is important. I'm not certainly by any means the biggest guy in the gym by far, but I still try to do my best to keep up my muscles and everything that I can for health reasons, why more so than anything else. I introduced my teens basically when they were 12. I kind of felt that was the right age to introduce them to an actual gym. We were fortunate that I could do that to some degree, because a lot of gyms you got to be older. But with my military background, I could take my teens into military gyms and be able to escort them around and be responsible for them, and that was an advantage there. But now they have their own memberships that they do, and let's talk to them a little bit about what they think. So let's start with my older teen. What do you think about the gym? In general, do you enjoy going? Is it difficult to go? I mean, tell me a little bit about your attitude in going to the gym and what you think about it.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy going, and I think that's a pretty common thing with kind of kids my age, high school age kids. Um, a lot of people, especially if you're into sports and stuff, a lot of kids will go to the gym. Um, and it's definitely become a bigger thing, with the rise of social media. Where now it's a lot more accessible to, I guess, kind of learn about it, and it's not really as daunting as a thing. Especially for people who it's the first time, you can just go online. There's certain people you can follow. That kind of, can set examples, talk about, how to do workouts, what stuff to do, proper nutrition, stuff like that. They make it very accessible, and kind of offer, some motivation. I know specifically there's a guy on, Instagram and TikTok that I used to kind of listen to and watch a lot. And he's a bodybuilder, and he would just, like I said, make videos and kind of short stuff going over, whether it's, how to make good meals that are, nutritious, or how to do proper workouts and lift properly, and just kind of dealing with that. And I think, that has definitely helped people and given people, motivation to go and put the work in, and made it a lot bigger of a thing than it used to be.
Okay. No, you brought up some really good points there. But before we start breaking down some of that, let's talk to the younger teen and see what he thinks about the gym.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people go to the gym and it's a really beneficial thing. Like, even if you don't even take it too seriously or go for too long, it can still have some really big health benefits. And I think just like everyone should go to some sort of gym or do some type of exercise.
Okay, good. So I'm glad you guys like it. Where do you think you fall on the spectrum in relation to other peers? Do you go more? You go less? I mean, tell me a little bit about what you think you are in relation to your peers on your emphasis on the gym.
I think as an athlete, I do kind of tend to go more often and have gone a lot more, because it's just kind of part of playing sports. If you want to do well, the gym and the weight room is part of it. So yeah, I think there's definitely an, I guess, advantage to being an athlete. You kind of get that extra motivation. So I would say we do more, but I think in terms of non-athletes, it definitely has grown, to where even people that don't necessarily have a sport or play a sport, the gym is kind of their sport in a sense, and that's just what they do. So yeah.
No, that was a good point about the last part about, the gym can be a sport for some people. All right, my younger teen, do you think you are in relation to your peers, and how often you go to the gym? What do you do in the gym? All of that.
I would say I probably go a little bit more, even though I don't really go that often. It's just, I don't know a lot of people that I know, like, specifically, like, whether or not they go to the gym or how often, but I'd say I probably go a little bit more and do a little bit more than them.
Okay. So you brought up the internet a little bit ago, and I do think the advent of what's available as far as virtual trainers and for motivation, I think that's important. You brought that up a little bit. Do you think that, do you guys talk about that with your peers? I mean, you talked about somebody who you watched. I mean, do you get other tips or other people going, hey, we should follow this guy or anything like that?
Yeah, I think, a little bit. And kind of going back to, the whole social media, yeah, it has benefit in a lot of ways, but I think, there has been sort of a downside of it where people can sometimes get discouraged because, they see these people with these amazing bodies and stuff doing these amazing things, that they just can't do. And it's, some people kind of get a sense of, it's hopeless. I can't do this. So I think, in the way social media is kind of a double-edged sword, where on one hand you can get a lot of beneficial, tips and advice, and it can make it more accessible. But it can also, make, I think, some people have unrealistic expectations. So I think, it's important to kind of, I guess, find a balance.
Yeah, that is such an important part, and I was going to bring that up as the second part, but you went into it, which is the danger of the unrealistic expectations of yourself. Whether it's people that are just blessed with good genetics or, they're doing a lot more work than what you can see or camera angles or whatever, but it can be discouraging. And I think the important part out of that is, first off, remember it's always a personal thing. Of what your goals should be, and it should be about health ultimately going forward. What do you think? You have anything or like that you follow health and fitness wise that you try to mimic in the gym?
Not really. The closest I'll get to it is just like kind of seeing something online like, hey, this is good for, whatever, and maybe I'll try it out when I go to the gym next time, but other than that, really, not really.
Okay. Well, the last thing I want to cover is it has to do with the fact that, famously gym memberships dramatically increase in January, and usually the people who are new to the gym make it about 6 weeks. So mid-February is usually when attendance at the gyms, in a sense, go back to what it is regularly throughout the year. Older teen, you are getting ready to go out on your own. Do you feel like the gym will be a part of your lifestyle going forward? What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely, especially as kind of, finish up with, my high school sports and stuff like that. It will be because, it's a way to, stay healthy and stay active and kind of keep the body that I have and the body that I want. And like I said, it's, proven multiple times that it's very healthy and can definitely, help improve your life. Not only physically, but mentally. So I think, it'll definitely be a big part. And will kind of, take the place of a lot of the sports and stuff I do now.
Okay, well, I think we're going to call it on that one. Good conversation. I think important stuff. And, for anyone out there, again, don't judge fitness by what you see on television, movies, or even maybe social media. Have your own goals. Again, I'm a big proponent of going to the gym. I think the hardest part of it is just walking through the doors when you start. And then after that, I don't think that anybody works or leaves after a workout having regretted the energy that they put into it. So with that, love to hear any comments, any tips, any thoughts on what we talked about today. And certainly appreciate you listening. This has been the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z teens. Take care. Bye.